Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Trash Talk. I'm here with a very, very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name's Noah. Some people call me Bunk. I make content surrounding philosophy and politics on YouTube.
And
Yeah.
just jumping straight into it, when you do make content, what does your average content creation process look like? So I know, of course, you do live streams. So, what does that all entail? So, what does like an average day of making some content look like?
Normally, there's a lot of the things that are difficult when it comes to the content that I make are things that are done off stream. So there's going to be things like looking into different subject matter. I'll
Hmm.
sometimes spend like a few hours in a call with Dakota or Synth, who's somebody who I'm pretty close to, kind of like
Yeah.
ironing out arguments on different topics and thinking about the potential counter arguments for them.
Hmm.
And then through that deliberation, it allows me to have, hopefully, whenever I go on stream and have a conversation with somebody, some kind of more coherent argument. And I've kind of already thought about the subject to a great deal. So while I'm having a conversation with somebody, it's almost like they're on like a lower level of that argument than I
Hmm.
am. I've thought about it. I've thought about the rebuttals to what they could possibly say, and I've thought about the counter arguments to the rebuttals to those rebuttals. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. So a lot of it is a lot like research based, taking down notes, making sure you got arguments and you can like rebuttal a lot of the arguments and points that are made. So, like, of course, with live streaming, live streaming is very unique. Of course, you're live. You're like talking to an audience that are watching you like from their homes, right? Like in that moment. Like,
Mhm.
how did you get used to doing live stream? Because of course, it's not as easy as just sitting down and recording like a just a normal pre-recorded YouTube video. So,
Mhm.
like, how did you get into live streaming and like how did that become your like whole thing?
Well, I think it was like forever ago, back when I was making like pre-recorded content or whatever. I would make
Hmm.
content surrounding lots of different drama topics, and then oftentimes whenever people talk about drama, there's like a pretty heavy like at least a moral element to it. People are trying to give some kind of commentary about like what this person did was wrong, or like trying to have like arguments surrounding the different dramas that people are involved in. So
Yeah.
whenever I commented on a lot of that, it was like kind of schizo researched. It was super hyper specific on the given subject matter. I think I like it would be like arguments around like whether people should say the word retard or not, like incredibly mundane things
Yeah.
that I would
Yeah.
have like a lot of research into. And then eventually, whenever I was like incorporated into the drama computer day, I saw like oftentimes people would be willing to make a lot of really strong statements about political subjects. And as somebody who's
Hmm.
kind of researched into politics for a pretty long time, it's just been like an interest of mine. And it wasn't really like a super main focus on my channel at that given point in time, because I saw a bunch of people making these given opinions about politics. I had some people come on to like a live recorded format because that
Yeah.
was a pretty popular thing at the time. It's also just way fucking easier than recording something. If somebody just hops
Hmm.
on a live stream, it's like easier to have interactions with chat or whatever, and to like
Yeah.
have like a dialogue about the given subject matter. So I'd bring people
Hmm.
on stream who are typically like commentary creators or people who are a lot more relevant than I was, to try and have discussions with them about the given subject matter. And a lot of the time they just like fucking crash and burn. It would be like super fucking
Hmm.
bad. There are debates like with the Aiden one where we were talking about like categorical rules surrounding like whether incest would always be bad in all situations. It's like obviously like a super easy argument. Like there are going to be edge cases for almost every single thing you could possibly think of.
Yeah.
There were arguments like the ones that I had with the cheetah where they just like were completely uninformed on the subject matter of like trans issues or whatever. Even like recently I had a debate with Pancho where he kind of just floundered. He didn't really have an argument surrounding the given topic. But I think that a lot of the
Hmm.
people who do get involved in like the political sphere of like the commentary where you like make reaction commentaries videos or whatever and you start talking about like all these different pop subjects, is that you there's a propensity to have like to feel the need to give an opinion about something. The thing that's going to get like a lot of viewership is normally going to be somebody who has a very strong opinion about something and is like feeding into the audience exactly what they want to hear. So you have this
Hmm.
kind of like repeated cycle of like people bloviating about stories that they know nothing about.
Yeah, yeah, and for you, is that why like live streaming as well? Like, it's a great format for that, right? Like, you can catch people out like while you're doing a live stream. You can show the cracks in their arguments more easier than like a pre-recorded thing where they can even themselves prepare more, right? Like, they know
Mm-hmm.
it's pre-recorded, they know it's like, yeah, right. They don't have that tension of it being live.
The tension of it being live, I think is something, but I think that a large reason why I do quite a lot of my conversations live is because
Hmm.
people tend to think that like you're being dishonest or you're using like tricky debate tactics or like tricky recording tactics or whatever the fuck. And like it's just like an air of honesty. It's like, hey, I have like
Yeah.
all of my conversations are publicly available. That way people can't clip things out. They can't claim that like I said something that I didn't say. It's all like super
Hmm.
accessible. If I'm on a live stream and I'm having a conversation with somebody, it's very hard for them to lie about something that I said or say something that's taken out of context or whatever the fuck. It's like super easy.
No, 100%. And like, is that why like do you prefer like live stream like and streaming content in comparison to pre-recorded content? Like, is would that play like a factor in it that like why you like creating it more than like maybe a pre-recorded like commentary video?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think there's whenever I am making like a live stream, I think there's a couple of factors that are pretty big for me. One is like obviously the thing of like, hey, nobody can like lie about something that I said. If it's on a fucking live stream, it's very, very difficult to
Yeah.
like butcher what I've said. I can go back and I can clip whatever the fuck, right?
Hmm.
The only problem that comes with that is like I've had people and like like organizations that are like super against me go out and like, hyper fucking clip chip the fuck out of me whenever I'm like doing like a joke and I'm like satirizing somebody else and they'd be like, hey,
Yeah.
this is what they believe or whatever, which is a problem that like every single live streamer has. It's like everybody gets taken out of context, but there's always that like air of safety where it's like, hey, I can go back and I can clip it with the original context, and that's there for you. But I think also there's an element of I really like interacting with people in my community. I always,
Hmm.
when I started on YouTube, I've had a very strong community around me. I have a probably one of the largest Discord servers for somebody my size. I have like fucking 600 people or some shit in there.
Oh wow.
Or like I don't even know. That might be an underestimate. I actually have no idea. Hold on, let me check. There's like a fuck ton of people who are in my server and like who chat in there fucking regularly. I've got a bunch of different people who are pretty large associates with me. I'm associated with a lot of
Hmm.
different people in the community. I like having that type of community interaction and having people in my chat and things of that nature. I think are really really good to like conducting that like community aspect of it. It feels a
Yeah.
lot less like you're disconnected from everything that's happening. But yeah.
100%. And I also feel like when doing live stream content, a bit like similar to podcasting as well, is you're interacting with the people you wouldn't usually interact with, right? You can go out your way to have a debate and an argument, or like just even like a speaking to someone who you maybe wouldn't necessarily usually speak to about a
Hmm.
certain subject, which is quite interesting for both sides and people to listen to. So I guess as well, you're building up like a community around people that are really interested to hear you speak to these like content creators, like hear their opinions
Hmm.
on situations and just see like how it all goes down and see how they can actually react like in a live environment, an environment where someone is questioning them and their integrity on a
Hmm.
situation.
I think it's also a lot harder for people to kind of have like a lot of like it's really easy to propagandize and like pre-recorded content. I think it's a lot harder in a debate format. I think the obviously there's an element of like you can have a debate with somebody who's just like incredibly good rhetorically and you can lose despite being good on like the substance and like actually being correct on the issue.
Yeah.
But whenever it comes to like two people who are generally pretty good rhetorically, I think that like the person who's right is more often than not going to look correct to the audience. And in the case of like pre-recorded content, it's a lot easier to like obfuscate in an argument, which is kind of why I don't want that
Yeah.
to be like the feeling, the vibe of my content. I don't want to like block people out and say like, hey, you're too fucking retarded to have a conversation with or whatever, or like you're too bad
Yeah.
at like debating or something. Like I'm never gonna do that to somebody. I'm totally willing to have a conversation with everybody. But that's like kind of why I try and seek out people who are really good at rhetoric, so that like
Hmm.
I know that in the conversation, if I do well in a conversation with them, it's probably because my arguments were really good, not just because I like ran circles around them because I'm better at debate or whatever.
Yeah, no, 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 100% get that. And like for you, of course, you've done a lot of these like debates on live streams. For you, which one is your personal favorite that you've done on your channel?
My personal favorite debate on my channel, I think, probably was the 2v2 debate that I did with Rob Noor, with me and Synth. Debating with Synth is
Hmm.
also is always like super fun. They are my closest friend. They have a very similar debate style to me. They're like it can be very frustrating to debate with somebody in a 2v2 format because you kind of can step over each other's toes. It can be a little bit complicated there. But whenever you're debating with somebody who you're pretty close to and you have a lot of experience debating with, and you like
Hmm.
kind of know the way that they're going to approach the argument, it's like super, super, super fun. Which is why like
Yeah.
me and Synth debating together is always like really, really fucking entertaining. The opponents that we were taking on, Rob Noor and Andrew Wilson, two really good right wing debaters. I think there's the tendency to like see someone like me or Synth go on to like a right wing show and like absolutely fucking like steamroll the fuck out of whoever we're debating and like to think, okay, well that
Hmm.
guy's like fucking retarded or whatever. But like you watch these people debate other people and like, wow, they're fucking really good. I know my brain has
Yeah.
to be on
Yeah.
whenever I'm debating somebody like Rob Noor or Andrew Wilson. Because if I'm not, I'm gonna get fucking like destroyed. I'm gonna fucking get dismantled. Because
Yeah.
these people are actually really good at defending conservative positions by comparison to like a lot of other people who are conservative leaning. So like having those conversations where we have that back and forth with Synth being there, it was like so goddamn fun. It was ridiculously fun.
No, no, 100%. It feels like I guess as well, it's someone you can bounce off of, right? Someone who's like quite aligned with you, and someone who knows like a lot about you, right? So
Hmm.
it's almost like you can 100% like connect and like speak like
Hmm.
properly. without almost feeling like that disconnect. That if you're gonna say something like you said, maybe like stepping on someone's toes, right? Whereas like there's a lot more
Or like you do,
connection there, and yeah,
or like you have like two different arguments, and there's
yeah,
like there's a disconnect. Like you both believe completely different things, and you're like approaching the
yeah.
conversation from different angles. But yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. And just like sort of in the same like area of the question I just asked, like of course you have that is your like favorite sort of like live and debate you've had. What's your favorite situation or like a topic that you've covered on a like stream?
My favorite like situation, like my favorite drama that I've covered. Is that what you're
Yeah, yeah,
asking?
yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah.
Oh shit, my favorite drama I've covered. Oh my god, dude, there's a lot of. I used to cover a lot more drama. I really liked the dude. Holy fuck! Did you hear anything about the Pie Man stuff like forever ago? Like the Pie Man and
Yeah.
Blur TV, where these two people like
Mhm.
these nuclear ass documents on each other, and absolutely like both of them were like riddled with. Or no, Blair T didn't make a document. They like abused somebody or some shit like that. There's like
Yeah.
this grand plot to like gaslight the fuck out of this person, get them to kill themselves or something. And I was reading through the document, and dude, like I'm sorry, sometimes I think I come off as like a heartless bitch, but holy fuck, okay? I was reading this, and they're talking about like getting this person to self harm and like sending them pictures like they're fucking nudes or something. It's like it's hysterical. It was so goddamn funny to me at the time. That one was really fun. I don't know because I haven't covered drama in fucking ages, so I don't know if that's my favorite one or if that's just like the one that comes to mind recently. But yeah.
No, 100%. And for you, like you just said, right, that you haven't like covered a lot of drama recently. Is that something that you were trying to move away from, or has it sort of just happened like naturally?
I think that as I've become older, I've had less of a propensity to get interested in internet drama. I think that there are
Hmm.
conversations to be had back and forth about it, and I don't have a problem with people going over that, but it's just like not where my interest lies anymore. I would much rather talk about like fucking abortion 4 billion times over than cover like Mick Buttfart calling piss face like a bastard or whatever the fuck. I just genuinely, it's not where my interest lies anymore, unfortunately. I do have like a great deal of respect for some people who can make that type of content entertaining, but like it's just not my thing. It's just not my bag anymore. I think the conversations that I have surrounding like different philosophical concepts are even more entertaining than the political ones that I have now. So that's another
Hmm.
shift that's kind of happened recently. I feel like once you have conversations about topics, or like you have conversations around the same type of subject matter over and over and over again, it can become quite stale. So I think it's good to branch
Yeah.
out. And I think that like the drama stuff became quite stale for me. And then also I think that like if there's like two different categories of drama, there's drama that doesn't fucking matter because it's like who cares? It's like retarded. And then
Yeah.
there's also drama that like does matter, but then you can't really have fun when you're covering drama that does matter. Because it's like
Hmm.
it's like yeah, like the fucking it's pedophile allegations or something. And then now you have to
Yeah.
take it seriously. You have to be like super meticulous with it or whatever.
No, no, I get that. And as well, I guess there is also like a content element there as well, right? Like anyone can sit down and listen to like an argument about trans rights or abortion, right? Whereas like you've got to really be in tune with maybe commentary if you want to sit down and maybe hear like a debate about lyrics or a Cheeto or something like that, right?
Yeah.
You've got to really want to like learn about the situation and be aligned with those content creators to actually
Hmm.
care about the situation at hand. Whereas like anyone can sit down and then listen about an argument about abortion because that almost applies to literally everyone on the planet, right? So.
There's less of a need to like be up
Mhm.
to date with like the news cycle, if that makes sense. This is thing I think this
Yeah.
is the biggest thing that kind of shifted me away from it. If you're like asking me like why I would shift away from it,
Hmm.
not just like yeah, I shift away from it because I didn't want to do it anymore. It'd be I think it's a lot more entertaining to me to get really good at one subject, okay? To like have a subject
Hmm.
matter that I'm talking about and have like know every single argument about it, know every counter argument
Yeah.
that you could bring up, know about all of the philosophy surrounding it. But like whenever you're talking about news cycle stories, it's a lot harder to do that because no one gives a fuck about something that happened like 4 years ago or whatever the fuck. It's
Yeah.
but like trans issues I've like researched for like 4 years and it's still fucking relevant, you know? So it's like I
Hmm.
don't know, dude. You get like really good at one subject matter. I think that's a lot more fun than like being like keeping up with the news cycle and having like a good hot take on it or whatever.
No, no, 100%. And like I do feel like as well, like I said, with like that content element, like I guess as well, like someone doesn't need to be like completely online constantly or like involved in like a community of people to like really tune into like some of the arguments that recently you've been having, and especially like stuff like I said, like abortion, trans rights, gay rights, all of that sort of shtick. Like anyone can sit down and listen to that regardless of how active they are on social media. It's an argument that applies to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
So
also
no,
kind of
I'm,
hard. It's kind of hard to like avoid it, right? I feel like politics is
yeah.
something that everybody's got a fucking opinion on. Like even people are like, "Oh, I'm apolitical." Well, they're not apolitical. They just don't spend much time thinking about politics. They probably do have an opinion on it. If you were like present them
Yeah.
like a moral dilemma, they'd be like, "Yeah, like this is where my intuitions lie," or whatever.
No, no, 100%. And like for you, just like sort of like a flip on your like most favorite topic and like your most favorite like live stream. Is there any that stand out to you as like one that like you've looked back at and go, I don't like that for like whatever reasons, like I wouldn't do that
Oh,
again?
oh
Or
yeah.
are you pretty confident with your ability with all
Oh,
of
I'm
them? Or
confident
like,
with my ability in like all of my conversation. I don't think that there are many conversations I did really poorly in. There's like I can look back on like arguments that I've had with let someone like send and be like, okay, well I lost that debate. Like pretty
yeah.
obviously. They were just like they're better than me at fucking debate sometimes. Like yeah, totally, 100%. But like there are debates that I think I've had where like the point was missed entirely. There are arguments I've had where like
Yeah.
people didn't even like they were remotely close to getting the point of the argument, right? So like one would be
Mhm.
like the incest debate from forever ago. The point of the incest debate from forever ago is, hey, we have this like tendency to have say that like if something is bad, then every instance in which it occurs, it has to be bad. But that's
Yeah.
like clearly not the case. Rape can be bad, but if I had to like
Hmm.
rape Hitler to stop the Holocaust from happening, I think it's probably fine to rape Hitler there. It's like that's probably
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Um, so that was the point. The point is like, hey, there are edge cases, and just because something's bad most of the time doesn't mean it's bad all of the time. In these edge
Hmm.
cases, you could imagine that they're probably ethically permissible. But everybody took that as like, okay, well, it's okay all of the time then. Okay, if it's not bad every single time, then there's absolutely no moral statements we can make surrounding it. There are
Yeah.
other ones that I've made, other arguments like there was the this was like a huge fucking controversy forever ago. Okay, holy shit. I had a I had a conversation with somebody where they were talking about like whether pedophiles should all be killed or not. I was like, well,
Hmm.
I don't think that's necessarily true because like whenever we say somebody's a pedophile, what we just mean is that they have an attraction to children, and they don't choose to have an attraction to children. It's not like they're
Yeah.
going out
Yeah.
and they're like doing the character select screen and they like pick the pedophilia trait or whatever the fuck. Right? They're
Yeah.
not in the
Yeah.
Sims character builder. Like, damn, dude, I want to fuck kids, dude.
Hmm.
So it's kind of hard to say that that's like a morally wrong thing to be because you just are that. Whenever we're talking
Hmm.
about things that are morally wrong, we're talking about decisions that people make. It has to be capable of being otherwise. If it's not a decision that you make and there's not capable of being otherwise, then you can't say you ought to do it because you can't do it. Ought implies can, as Kant would say. So that was an argument that I made, and then every single person thought like, okay, so what you're saying is like it's okay to fuck kids, and it's like that's absolutely
Yeah.
not the point of the argument, like not even
Yeah.
remotely close to the point of the like it's still wrong to fuck kids, like it's wrong to kill yourself. It's not wrong to be someone who has depression, right? Like yeah,
Yeah.
one thing can lead to the other, and it's unfortunate whenever people have that ailment, but it's also the case that like it's not gonna entail that the thing that like gives you the urge to do is morally permissible.
No, no, 100%. Like, I guess, like, with some situations and like some of the topics you cover and speak about, like, I guess some people like misinterpret like a lot of the meanings and maybe like a lot of the reasons why like you're having that conversation in the first place, right? Like, and taking your word as like, oh yeah, like I can go out on the street and like rape anyone, it's all good, right? Just because like if to like stop the Holocaust, like
Mm-hmm.
you said, like you have to rape Hitler. So I
Mm-hmm.
do get that like some people might misinterpret the situation and like the topic you're speaking about, like to fit their own narrative and their own viewpoint.
I don't even think it's always the case that like I am an ineffective communicator. I think that whenever you
Hmm.
do the thing that I do, especially whenever, because when I was a lot younger, when I was like 17-ish on the internet, like 16, 17, I was very confrontational with people. I still kind of
Yeah.
am. I try to be a
Mhm.
little bit more charitable to people whenever they're talking about issues that they don't know too much about. I kind of want to like shift my content into having conversations with people where I try and like teach them about the subject matter more so than like having them come on and like just get like fucking bodied or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like when I was more confrontational, like of course people didn't like me because I would be like really mean to them if they were wrong about a subject. And people just generally don't like being corrected. Like if you correct this is something that's like 1000% true. People are gonna call it like narcissistic as fuck. People just don't like being corrected, okay? If you like
Yeah.
misspell something, you don't like it when someone corrects you. They could be 100% right. You misspelled
Yeah.
it, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, but shut the fuck up, okay? It's like, yeah, people don't like being corrected. It hurts to be corrected. It's like something you have to get used to is like, hey, I could be wrong on subject matter. So if somebody else like coming on and like kind of getting up in your grill whenever you talk about it, it's like, yeah, that's kind of frustrating. So with that comes like contempt for me. I think that contempt can
Mhm.
kind of brew people to spread like false narratives about the things that I think, or like despitefully like jump on hate trains about me, considering like any drama that I'm in. I know that like no matter how indefensible somebody else who I'm in drama with is, sometimes people will just like 100% be willing to side with them because they just don't fucking like me. It's like, yeah, that's like the default position or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. Like I guess like when it does come down to that, and like coming down to like that like I just want to focus on that, like, or almost like being corrected, right? Like there is nobody, I don't think, that outright just like enjoys being corrected, right? I don't think anyone
Yeah.
wants to go out there, make a mistake, and then be corrected, especially if it's like in a live atmosphere right in front of a bunch of people. Like I don't think
Hmm.
anybody ever like wants to go out and do that. So I almost get as well, like with your content and with your live streaming. I get that, like, you can almost see that as well, right? You can see the personality of people and how well they react to criticism, which I think within like the sort of community that you're also involved in, I think that's like a great look at the content creator as well. Like,
Hmm.
and maybe even just like the person you're speaking to, even if they maybe don't do content creation, is how they actually react to criticism. So if you're getting like a commentator on there and they're not reacting well to that criticism that you're like dealing out, or like your like counter argument, and they feel like maybe you're winning that argument and stuff, you can
Hmm.
100% see how their reaction and the maturity level like sort of comes out in that.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I think that a lot of the time, I kind of have fostered this community where like the thing that's seen, I think this thing I'm trying to change. I'm trying really hard to get my chat to change this, okay? The whole fucking like 30 people that are in there or whatever, okay? Like
Hmm.
I'll have somebody come on, and regardless of how fucking like they could be like super nice and super reasonable, and they're just like mistaken on an issue, okay? They haven't researched it. They're just wrong. They came to the wrong conclusion, and they come on a live stream with me. And like the entire time, they're being super nice about it. They're being like super good faith with me.
Yeah.
They understand the argue. They're putting up forth an honest effort to understand the arguments and like try and get like a better perspective on the issue. And then I'll have everybody in chat
Hmm.
just coming in and like, what a fucking retard! This guy's a
Yeah.
piece of shit. Get him the fuck out of here! And it's like, dude, okay, hold on. This person came on and they were like super nice the entire time, and they were
Hmm.
trying so hard to understand the issue, and you guys are just fucking grilling this shit out of him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
like chill the fuck out. All right. Oh my god, it's like it's okay to be
Yeah.
wrong on an issue. I would much rather like people be wrong on an issue and be like really good about like being wrong on that issue than people feel like stuck in their ways and like unable to change. It almost feels like whenever people concede something or they change their position on something, it's seen as like a bad thing. When I think it's like
Yeah.
that's a good trait to be able to have, to be like damn dude, I was fucking wrong on that before. I'm glad I have the better position. This is a better argument. I'm going to take up this.
Yeah, you know, 100%. I feel like there's a quite heavy negative stigma around like changing your ideology or changing your opinion depending on like a situation, or like as stuff goes on, or if someone corrects you, right? Like I
Hmm.
feel like that's a really weird thing to have, right? Like people are constantly evolving and changing, right? So like, why
Hmm.
is changing your viewpoint seen as a negative? Like if you're speaking to someone and they've like educated you maybe more on a situation, like why is it bad
Hmm.
to actually change that viewpoint and maybe align with the person because they've maybe dealt out a better argument, or they've dealt out more facts and like evidence and stuff? So no, I get that, and I genuinely like could not tell you why a lot of people are a lot more like negative to that apprehension of like people changing their opinions and like ideas and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I understand that.
So yeah.
The Yeah, no, I just like I'm trying to kind of encourage. I want to encourage a space of people
Hmm.
where it's like people are there to have conversations. And sure, like you can be
Yeah.
like debating as fuck or whatever. Like that's fun. It's fun to do the blood sportsy debates. Okay,
Hmm.
I enjoy doing the blood sportsy debates. I've been talking shit on the internet since I was like fucking 11. Okay, I would get on Two
Yeah.
Fortress 2 voice chats. And I talk so much shit to like grown men with 5 kids, but. That's fun, right? But I also want to foster a community where there's some kind of seeking of truth there, and it isn't seen
Yeah.
as like shameful to like change your opinion or like hear a better argument and like shift your position because of it.
No, 100%. And I just want to like ask you one last question. This sort of just ties into the conversation we've just had. So like you just spoke about maybe like trying to like change a lot of like the perception of your audience, right? Like, and how they deal
Hmm.
with like guests and stuff. Is there like another way you want to change, like maybe if it's your community or just your content in general, like going forward? Is there stuff that you've got like an end goal? Because of course, like we've seen your content like sort of take a shift from a lot more of like the dramatized commentary content to a lot more of these like political debates about like abortion and stuff. So is there any like thing that you want to do with your content in the future or your community, or are you pretty like satisfactory with where you are right now?
I'm super happy with the community I have right now. There are
Hmm.
things that I would change, like for example, how people interact with guests, how people see like changing positions within the community, people's like propensity to take like arguments that I have as like gospel or whatever, to like try and foster. I think it's fine to have a community that agrees on a lot. I think that's just inevitable whenever you make any kind of opinionated content whatsoever. It's like yeah, people are gonna agree on stuff, but I want to like foster
Yeah.
people of like different political viewpoints to all have like conversations with each other, and hopefully shift people over. But I think the biggest thing is like with my content, I'm trying to shift it from like being super fucking blood sportsy all the time to like having conversations with people where hopefully like at the end of the conversation, I've like bridged some kind of divide between me and the other person. There are obviously people I can never do that with. And I think the thing I'm trying to learn is how to like parse out people who I will never be able to fucking have like a normal conversation with ever. Like, for example,
Yeah.
I could debate fucking like Rob Noor to the day I die, okay? That motherfucker is
Mhm.
never gonna change his opinion on anything, okay? Doesn't
Yeah,
matter
yeah,
how
yeah.
fucking blown the fuck out he gets, okay? It doesn't matter if he gets fucking like completely embarrassed by me, right? Does not matter. The only thing that's gonna
Mhm.
matter there is like, yeah, he's like an ideologue. He has his opinions. To be fair to him, he's probably pretty unlikely to change his mind. Now, mind you, I think that I'm likely to change his mind because I just don't think his arguments are very good. I don't think he presents the good arguments. But like, even if I were to present Rob Noor with like the perfect argument, like the fucking like the perfectly good orchestrated argument, I've spent like 25 years making it. Okay, illustrated every
Yeah, yeah.
single point, and it's like full. All right, and I were to like get a carrier pigeon and send that argument over to Rob Noor. He's probably not going to change his fucking mind on anything, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if I'm having a conversation with like a random caller or something, or like somebody who's generally trying to engage in like a little bit more good faith, like if I have a conversation with somebody like Mouthy Infidel or someone like Omni, or who are some other people that like kind of come to mind? I think I probably with Destiny or someone like that as well as like
Mhm.
like a larger content creator. And like being able to parse out, okay, this person can't change their mind on this topic, and therefore there's probably some kind of good to be had by me being like generally pretty nice and trying to walk them through it rather than having like a super like rhetoric shitting on them or whatever.
No, no, 100%. I guess as well, like comes with that being like less confrontational, right? Like having more of like I don't know, would you say maybe more of like a just a welcoming environment of like this is a place where well we can share opinions, we can share like ideology, we can debate about it, talk about it, and then we can come away maybe learning something new and maybe like just learning like a new like narrative and stuff, and like understanding other people's opinions. Would you say that sort of like sort of encapsulates like where you want to go with your
I
content? Like
mhm.
just make it
I
like a lot more understanding.
I want people to understand the arguments more so
Yeah.
than just be there to watch me fucking shit on somebody, okay?
Yeah.
Because I can
Mhm.
shit on somebody. Like, of course that's happened before in my debates. Like, yeah, no shit. I'm known as like the super fucking ultra fucking lefty debate lord in the commentary scene. But
Mhm.
like more so than that, I want people to understand the philosophy that underlines all of the arguments. I want people to kind of come away with better like ability to engage with arguments and a better ability to like engage with their own thoughts on different subject matter. But yeah.
No, no, 100% get that. And just to end off the episode, I really, really do appreciate you just like coming on Trash Talk for like 25, 30 minutes and just like
Mhm.
talking to me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, anytime, dude.
And thank you so much. And for everyone watching, if you did enjoy today's episode and you do want to see maybe more of Bunk's content, maybe what he does, I'll be leaving a link down below if you haven't already like checked out his stuff, so you can go and do that. But I've been your host Samuel, and I will catch you in the next episode of Trash Talk.